Hi, I'd like to make a video today to share with you my testimony and also the day that Jesus spoke to my spirit and what he said and how that felt. And so I just want to start with a brief summary, just some context and background for you, and then I'll get into the good stuff. So I grew up in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints with my family. We were pretty active. We went to church on Sunday, participated in activities as a youth, and grew up that way. When I was about 10 or 11, I think, my parents got a divorce, and as a result of that, my family became a lot less active. My mom had been the stronger one in the church. She became completely inactive for a while, and as a result, I became less active. I don't remember going to church every Sunday. I do remember going sometimes, and I remember going to some activities in the summertime, some camping activities. But other than that, I didn't really have any friends in my church group specifically, and I didn't enjoy going to church at that time in my life. It didn't have a lot of meaning, and I also did not understand the scriptures and did not read the scriptures that I remember at all. So that's how I kind of grew up, and by the time I was 17, I went away to college, and I had no intention whatsoever of going to church at all. So I remember on a Sunday morning, it may have been the first Sunday in my apartment when I went to college, and I just wanted to sleep in. I just thought that'd be great to sleep in on Sunday. I was busy during the week with school. I had a heavy load of work, and I just wanted to be lazy, rest on Sunday, and get rejuvenation that way. But my roommate had other ideas for me, and when I told her I didn't want to go to church, she would not have it. And she demanded basically that I go, and so I did. And I went to church after that, that whole year. And then the following year, I lived with that roommate again and some new roommates and was going to church still. But I remember this one Sunday, some of the roommates did not get along at all, and they were pretty contentious with each other. I could feel that they did not like each other, and it became really uncomfortable for me. I've always been a peacemaker type. I like peace. I like quiet. I like alone time. I enjoy stillness and just nature and things like that. And so it was really uncomfortable for me to live with people who were fighting. And this one Sunday, I decided I didn't want to hang out in the apartment with a bunch of fighting people. And so I went for a walk. And I was in a small town in the middle of Utah. And I went for a walk, and it was a nice fall day. And I walked along the slow town streets, and I was just having this turmoil inside and searching for something better. I had peace on my mind. I wanted peace. I wanted to feel good about my life. And as I walked along, I just glanced around. I saw just little buildings, little houses, kept walking. I saw the cemetery, kept going. And for some reason, I looked to my right. And as I looked to my right, I also looked up into the sky. And as I looked up into the sky, I saw that the clouds were forming into a rainbow. And just as I looked up, they finished forming into a rainbow. And this rainbow arched from mountaintop to mountaintop. It was this giant cumulus cloud rainbow in the sky. And at that very moment, I knew that the clouds, which is an extension of God's Spirit, that they were speaking to me, that they were testifying to me of something bigger than me. I knew in that moment that God is real and he loves me. And not only that, but he knows me. And he knew me personally. And he loves me. And in that moment of joy and unexpected testimony, I felt my spirit get really excited. And it was so excited that it felt like my spirit wanted to jump out of my body onto that mountaintop and shout to the whole world that God is real. And he loves us. I wanted to testify to the entire world that God exists and he knows us and that he wants the best for us. So after that moment of peace, I was able to become stronger in the church, and I had more callings and did more things. I ended up getting married in the temple, and then we adopted 3 children. We were able to be sealed to each of those children, and I had a lot of neat experiences in the temple and in the church. But after that, I started to let the devil into my mind, and I didn't realize it was the devil at the time. He came in and he sounded like me. He tricked me into thinking it was me, that it was my thoughts and feelings. He snuck into my mind and told me I wasn't good enough. He told me I wasn't a good mother. And I believed him because my children, they were getting sick and I was getting sick and things weren't working right and my husband wasn't making enough money and I didn't feel provided for and I didn't feel like I was enough and I didn't feel like he was enough. And there was a lot of blame and all these thoughts, they were tormenting us. They were just tormenting and tormenting and tormenting. And there was so much turmoil in my mind that he chased me back out of the church. He chased me back away from my God, who I had clung to all those years. The God that I remember, he told me he loved me. And that devil tricked me into thinking that I didn't deserve to live. I remember driving on Interstate 215 with my car full of crying children. And it was such mental anguish and torture to not be able to make them happy and to not be happy myself and to not realize that it was the devil torturing us. I remember thinking I could just swerve the wheel and end it all. I could just end all the pain right there. But I knew, another part of me knew, that wouldn't solve any of my problems. And I didn't know at the time that was God. God was still with me. He didn't want me to die. It was that tricky devil. That tricky devil wanted me to die. He didn't want me to know who I was. He didn't want me to know who God was. He didn't care about me, that tricky devil. But guess what? The devil doesn't win. God already told us who wins. So after that, I remember thinking that I could just swerve, and I chose not to, obviously. And I remember crying, and all the children were still crying. They had no idea what was the battle that was going on in my mind and in our family. Because the devil knows that if he can take out mom and dad, if he can pit them against each other and take them out, he knows he can get a foothold in your family. That's why he destroys family. Because if he destroys heads of household, then he can get to the children easier. And he wants to destroy everyone. He cares nothing about anyone. So after that, I don't know how long it was that I kept suffering and dealing with these attacks that I didn't know who it was. I thought it was me. Just I wasn't good enough, I thought, and you know, I would even think about like other people that Ron could marry if I died. It was bad. So I do remember that it was the summer of 2014. My mom messaged, I think, the whole family and suggested that we read a book, and it was about a near-death experience. And so I read what she wrote about how she thought we should read it. And I thought it sounded interesting. And then I had a thought that I should clean my nightstand. And I never clean my nightstand. It just collects things. It has drawers and things collect in there. But I thought I should clean it. So whatever. I decided to clean my nightstand. And when I did, I opened the drawer, and inside the drawer was a book, and I had not remembered ever seeing it before in my life, but it was in my nightstand. And I opened the front cover, and it said, "Merry Christmas from my brother and his wife from the December before," and now this was summer. So it was several months that I'd had this book, and I had no idea that I had this book. And it said on the cover, "One man's astonishing account of the last days." And it was another near-death experience. And I had my mouth hanging open looking at this book. And I was like, this is not a coincidence. This is not. And I knew in that moment that God was watching me, that He was still with me. Even though I had been chased away by the devil from the church, even though my heart had gotten hard to my situation and to God, and I was blaming God for things, despite all of that, He was still there. And He still was watching me, and I knew He was watching me. And in that moment, I felt in my spirit that Jesus was speaking to me. And He said, and I didn't hear Him, but I felt His words in my spirit. He said, Jessica, come back. You're too far away from me. And I did not feel judgment. I felt loved. I felt like He knew me. He loved me. And He wanted to help me when no one else wanted to. He was willing to. He's willing to help the weak, the downtrodden, the brokenhearted. He's willing. We just have to make one choice with our agency to give Him another chance. And that's what I decided to do. I decided to give God another chance. And I ran back to church. I ran back to the temple. I started going to the temple every week. And I started reading the scriptures. And also I read the near-death experiences because I knew that was not a coincidence. And those near-death experiences opened my eyes to the love of God and how involved He is in our lives. He's very involved in our lives. And He cares and loves us. He wants us back home with Him. And He's designed plans in the earth to help us get there. Church and scriptures and other people, these are all things that He has appointed for us to get us back home to Him. That's what He wants. He wants us back home. And so I started to understand the scriptures I started reading them like 6 hours a day sometimes because I understood what he was trying to tell me now. I understood him. He had given me some keys to understanding his love that I couldn't see before because I'd allowed the devil to cloud my mind and my eyes and my heart. So that's my testimony, and I want to share that with you. I hope it blesses you. Leave me a message. I love to hear, why do you love Jesus? Why do you love him? I love him so much, and I bless you, and have a good day.